fundamentally what we wanted to be able to do. So I'd love for all of you to try it now as well. So this is really important, where let's get down to business. There are some worksheets. Actually, I just remembered to put those up here. You can grab these. There should be a link if you're able to if you're on the platform with me right now. You should be able to download the Roadmap Discovery Kit resources. So within that, you'll find the templates, you'll find the worksheets, you'll find some smaller work kits as well that allow you to be able to do that. So please head over there, grab them, take a look at them, see what's there, because those are what I'm going to be kind of going into a little bit more detail here as well. But you can do them on your own time. You can understand the different pieces as well and how they all fit together. So grab those there. I'll have the links as well at the end too for you to be able to do that. So just again, let's quickly go over this. How does this all fit together, and how do these pieces actually work together and strategically and fundamentally kind of give us that roadmap, that journey that we need to be able to deliver for ourselves and for our audience too. So keep that in mind. We start with the center, right? Your ultimate call to action, your promise, your big, hairy, audacious goal, whatever you want to call it. This is where you're going. This is your vision, right? This is where you're going. This is your destination that you know that you need to get to, so that you're driving in the right direction. You're going around the right detours. You're getting to that position where people want to be able to do business with you. You're the bus driver. You're the pilot. You're leading this digital expedition. You're the chief digital expedition officer. What's next? We need to look at, okay, well, yeah, it's not going to be an easy journey, right? It's not going to be that, it's not a walk in the park kind of thing. It's going to take some work. But if we understand the obstacles, we'll be able to do that work. We'll be able to understand how these fit together. With fractured strategy and execution, too much friction to implement and respond, and fragmented messaging and delivery as well. What do we need to do? We need to have a solution. We need to have a fix to span that gap between, okay, what's the problem and how are we going to fix this? Let's get a plan in place to be able to fix this properly as well. So how do we do that? Persuasive positioning, tenacious targeting, and connected and craving clients. What does this look like? Like I was talking about before, this is about developing and building your strategic foundation. So understanding what makes you, what makes your business, right? The journey of transformation. How do you create that value? How do you create that monetization? How do you create that transfer of your expertise in your zone of genius as well? In terms of tenacious targeting, what are we doing fundamentally? Well, we're enabling technology to find and feature your audience. So we need to be able to put these pieces together to say, this is how I focus on you, my audience. This is what's important to you, my audience. These are the tools that I use to be able to do that. And then finally, connected and craving clients is, what does that feel like? What does that look like? Creating lasting client connections, quite simply. We don't want to, or rather we want our customers, our clients, to come back and enjoy and engage and experience what we have to offer as well. So we want to create these things to be able to do that through an engaging environment, through our digital assets, through our enchanting digital experiences as well. And then we have these 9 specific stops, these road stops along our roadmap that are important to be able to check to say, I need this, I need that next, and then I need this kind of thing. So we need to be able to see, how do we actually put these pieces together in our roadmap? Sound good? All right, it's your turn. What is your ultimate call to action? What is your promise? So take a moment. We've got a little bit of time here. Take a moment to say, what is that? What is your vision? What is your ultimate call to action? What is your promise that you are going to deliver? And in my case, as I've said before, it's creating a growth pathway strategy for businesses to be able to succeed online. So it provides direction, it provides a vision, it provides a velocity. If you want to be able to grow your business, if you want to be able to understand that strategy and that pathway, this is the bus that this is about. This is that flight that's going to be taking off soon. So if we can understand that, what's our vision? What do we want to be able to do? And I love it if you've got, to share in the comments or the chat as well. But take some time. Write it down, piece of paper, notebook, whatever the case may be, on your computer, where you go. But fundamentally, that's what we need to be able to do. Thanks, Bonnie. My promise is to help subluxation-based chiropractors leverage automated local Google ads to book new patient consultations month to month. Okay, very cool, very detailed. What is that? What can we kind of summarize that a little bit more? Like, what fundamentally is it? What are they going to get out of this journey is a question that we can ask ourselves as well. So what is it that makes them provide that, for you to provide that as well? So great local ads, fantastic. Automated local Google ads, patients, consultations, absolutely important. Chiropractors, perfect. You've identified your niche, you've identified how you're doing it. What fundamentally is it that they want? They want patients, right? They want a full register, a full calendar. So I love it. Maybe just tweak it a little bit to say specifically what's in it for them. Yeah, there you go. Chiropractors want new patients and retain patients. Absolutely. So how many? How big? Is there a size? Is there a number of patients? Is it a full house? Is it whatever you'd call like a full calendar kind of thing? Overbooked, right? We create chiropractors with an overbooked practice. If that's your mission, if that's your vision, that's where you're going to get them. That's where you're going to take them. So what is the patient worth to them? Yeah, absolutely. But fundamentally, we're going to get you to overbook your practice, have 100% bookings through Google ads, through your foundations, through your live streams, all that kind of stuff. That's super, super critical. So it's important to kind of outline that. What is it? What are they going to get out of this? Right? I'm going to create a pathway for you. I'm going to show you that pathway. I'm going to show you what I call, again, my business GPS, or growth pathway strategy, to be able to get to that success online. So think of that. Your ultimate call to action, your promise is, please write it down. And again, thank you, Bonnie, for sharing. If anybody else would love to share, please do so. And we can happy to chat at the end of this as well, if you wanted to jump onto stage also. So I've said sorry, I'm not sure. I missed, no, I didn't. Okay, so some of the obstacles that I've found, again, and how I've categorized these, and they can be a little bit different for you. And the next step is understanding, okay, well, what does this mean for you as well? So what can we do now for these obstacles to be able to understand how to do them? So in terms of fractured positioning with your ideal audience, this comes out as an obstacle of fractured strategy and execution. So not sure how to capture new demand, journey is unknown, and your message is broken. You're not sure how to leverage your expertise and your own genius. Will your message actually be heard? And even if it reaches your audience, how hard will you have to work because it is fractured, right? These doubts erode your positioning within your perfect client, making it impossible to market and sell, right? Remember I said that earlier. What bus are you? Are you the driver of the bus, or some random who got into the bus driver's seat? So your audience needs to know that it can't be fractured. We can't have that doubt that erodes your positioning as well. So what about too much friction to implement and respond? So friction in your progress and in finding and targeting your audience comes across as not being able to create your own uncontested market space. You're simply not in front of the right people at the right time and with the right data and the right tools. You don't have the information that you need, nor the tools to be able to deliver your message on time to the right person at the right place. So you're nowhere near your target audience. And then the last obstacle is fragmented messaging and delivery. And what does that look like? Well, fragmented and disconnected clients. Your business is not compelling in order to make your competition irrelevant. Your environment is not engaging and not compelling. Your digital assets are not aligned with your customer journey and business goals, and your digital experience doesn't satisfy. Prospects don't seem to get what you do, and even when they do, they don't seem to want it. So these are some of the fundamental obstacles that I see businesses encountering every single day. So I love that. Again, this is a worksheet. You can grab it in the resource section of the Roadmap Discovery Kit. It's as a link in the session here that we're on right now. So please, if you haven't clicked into that, download it, look at the worksheets. But what I want to get to your understanding of is, what are your obstacles? I've identified what I see in this industry, but look, sometimes ours are specifically a little bit differently. So ask yourself, what's fractured in your strategy execution? What's fractured in your positioning fundamentally is what we're trying to get at here. What's fractured? There's a crack in it. Our foundation is a little bit different. Our strategy is not quite aligned. So how do we build our persuasive positioning? What's getting in your way? So again, if you've got a chance, please drop it in the comments or in the chat. What's fractured in your strategy and execution? The second one, tenacious targeting, right? What's the great obstacle here? What's creating that friction? What's slowing you down? If you can, throw it in the comments or in the chat. What is it that you feel is causing you friction? What do you feel is pushing against you getting to where you want it to be, where you want to be, and delivering your value? So what kind of technology are you using, and what kind of technology are you not using? Or what kind of technology are you using, but it's so bloody confusing, I can't actually use it, right? Or I'm not able to use it because I don't have these pieces in place as well. So that's the second thing. What's creating the friction? And then the third thing is, what's causing fragmentation in messaging and delivery? And this comes down to, how do we create our connected and craving clients? Because if we're not doing that, we're not creating that business opportunity. So we can see how, if we overcome these positioning, tenacious targeting, and customer connected and craving clients, we're creating a whole journey for them as well throughout this process itself. So the roadmap becomes how we actually deliver what we're talking about as well. Let's quickly move into the matrix, right? Not the Keanu Reeves matrix, this matrix, 3x3. In the real world, we're not quite there into the matrix AR, VR yet, or are we? Maybe we are. Anyway, so we need to look at those specific road stops along the way. So those places that we need to take account of what we're doing, and we need to use that as a check mark rather. This is what I need to be able to do. This is how I need to be able to do it. It's a thing, right? Let's be very, very clear. It's a thing that we can, it's tangible. We can grab it and say, I need to do this. How do I need to be able to do this, right? So go through this matrix. Again, you can download it in the resources section, take a screenshot, whatever, scribble it in your notes. But for you specifically, go through this matrix and understand what each of these road stops mean. For you, I'm saying what the framework can be, right? But what does it look like to you? So how do you make your customer journey feel harmonized? How do you create those pieces of that puzzle that enable us to be able to do that, enable you rather to be able to do that? How do you make your sales process feeling methodical? How do you actually even have a sales process within your digital ecosystem, within the environment that you're asking them to come along with? What is that ultimate value that you're providing? How are you delivering your expertise effectively and efficiently? Like a lot of entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, like they are the business. And yes, you're going to have people supporting that, but you are the front. You are, you're on the live stream. You're at the front end of the pointy end of the spear, right? You're able to say, this is what the business is about. This is how I'm going to get you to those places as well. So fill those in your worksheet. If you want, fill them in the comments. We'd happy to look at this, and happy to chat later as well if you want to stick around. I'll just be having an open mic session as well. So take a look at these pieces of these road stops along the way to creating that persuasive positioning. So let's move on now to tenacious targeting, right? What is that? That's how are we going to create uncontested market space? how are we going to be able to enable that technology that's so important to us to be able to allow us to deliver our value? So in part A, we're building our positioning, our foundations. In part B, we're saying, hey, look, these are the pieces that I need to be able to deliver. This is how I'm going to be able to deliver it. So these are the specific road stops. These are the things that we need to do to be able to build that roadmap. So it's very important that we kind of dig into this. And again, there's lots of layers here, but fundamentally, just to get this quick and going, this plug and play roadmap, just quickly put something in that means something to you. So how do you measure more data? How do you measure more with data and your experience as well? So what is it that you want to be able to measure? What specific tools do you need and can use? So again, don't be overwhelmed by technology. A lot of times we can be very, very quickly because it's like, oh, well, it can do this and it can do that. And, it can transport you around the world, and it can, create content nonstop for 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It builds a sales funnel. Cool. But guess what? If you don't have that foundation, you're not going to be able to use it as well. So be very, very specific. What do you need? You need email management. You need, community building. You need an opportunity to be able to respond quickly to people. You need to be able to get out there and connect with people as well. So is it live streaming? Is it email marketing? Is it a social scheduler? Is it, virtual events? Is it augmented reality? Like, what specifically is it? What are the tools that you need to be able to put into your digital toolbox that you'll be using every day, every other day, whatever the case may be? Can you streamline your processes with automations and planning, right? So this is fundamentally important because, we don't want to put the brakes on this. If something happens, if a customer responds, if an audience member responds, how do you respond then? And do you have those pieces in place to be able to respond appropriately? Do you have the systems? Do you have the documents? Do you have the processes? Do you have all these pieces? And can you automate it? Not everything needs to be automated for the purpose of automation, right? But we need to look at how can you make your job a little bit easier by being able to put in some systems in place. And again, these all take time. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be done overnight. But what is it that you can do to increase that capability as well? And then the third step, creating that audience of connected and craving clients. And this allows you to have a compelling offer and to make competition irrelevant as well. So what are these specific steps that we need to take them through, these road stops? Well, number 7 is how are you connecting your online and offline environments and ecosystems, right? So be as specific as possible. Again, this is just to get you started. There's a lot more depth that we can go into. But how do you actually create that connections in your online, your offline, developing your online communities, that sort of thing as well, that allow them to be able to do that. Number 8, what relevant digital assets are you building and using? So again, digital assets are those things that you can say, hey, go do this, go read a book, go read my book, go to my platform, go grab these resources. Those are digital assets. So if you go to the Roadmap Discovery resources, you will find, a bunch of pieces that will help you in developing your roadmap further as well. So ask yourself, what digital assets can you produce that you can build that allow your customer to connect with you on many different levels? And I can take you, down the rabbit hole in terms of the content and the strategies and the tactics. But guess what? That's for another time. All I wanted to be able to do is show you this specific roadmap to say, hey, this is the roadmap that will help you sort out what you need to, get you going in the right direction, pointing you in the right direction to say, hey, this is where we need to go, so that you're ready for those detours. And then finally, how are you magnifying your digital customer experience? And this is what I've talked about. This is where you can do, create that more experiential type side of things. So again, whether you're doing live streams, whether you're doing, specific quizzes or assessments, or whether you're doing specific reports, or how are you actually engaging with the customer, and that journey of transformation that I'm speaking about, that digital expedition journey of transformation. What are you doing to be able to create that, so that even if they are just coming for bread, milk, and cheese, right, they're going to come back for bread, milk, and cheese because they love the way that you're delivering bread, milk, and cheese, right? How are you presenting yourself? What are you presenting? How are you communicating? What are you providing? What beyond just those commodities? And we need to look at that. How do we actually create and magnify that digital customer experience as well? So these are the nine pieces of the matrix of the roadmap that allow you to be able to then build it into something concrete. So take your ideas that you had in each of those boxes and basically plug and play, right? What are these steps that you want to be able to take for number one, your journey of transformation? What about number two, irresistible value and monetization? Number three, your journey of your zone of genius and expertise. So what is it specifically that you're going to do along these road stops to deliver that? Number four, your magnetic measurement and deciding with data, your precision digital toolkit and tech stack, your automations, and then finally moving up into connected and craving clients, where it's your inviting, engaging environment, it's your tantalizing digital assets and foundations, and finally it's your immersive and enchanting digital experience. How do we do that? Well, first we need to know, what is your big call to action, your promise? What is it that your value is? Where is your vision taking you and your audience down this growth map as well? So just about ready to wrap up. We have three big steps here and one more just to kind of close off on, which is kind of a fun one. But the first thing that we did was, let's understand our big call to action, your vision, your mission, whatever you want to call it. Your savvy and enduring online growth is what I call it. I'm delivering your growth pathway strategy for my customers so that they have those tools to be able to manage and leverage online. So that's the big CTA. It's how can you impress upon your audience? What bus are you driving? What plane are you flying? And where are you flying it to? Then the second thing, we basically built the roadmap using that little 3x3 matrix to be able to give us those steps along the way. And these translate into time. I need to do this first. I need to do this second. I need to do this third and fourth, and so on and so forth. Because if I don't, I'm still not necessarily creating that journey. And yes, you can, of course, jump along, and sometimes you might have to, but fundamentally, you want to make the journey as smooth as possible for yourself. So if, for example, you can't actually create an experience, if we go to the top here, can you create an experience if you don't know what it is that your value is? No, you can't. Can you create an experience if you don't necessarily know what that tech stack, what your toolbox looks like? No, you can't. You can get some of the pieces, and maybe that's why some of the journey might look a little bit rocky and a little bit fragmented, is because we're trying to do this first and then do that and then go back here and maybe here. We're wasting time, we're wasting money, we're wasting resources. So it's really important that we understand these pieces and how they play together and use them in order. So then you can map it out specifically. I can take however long I need. I can take a month. I can take a week. I can take, a day to be able to do each of these specific 9 road stops. And at the end, I know that if I've done them properly, if I've filled out that matrix, if I've understood what specifically it is, I can actually create that roadmap. I can create those pieces that show me, that guide me. Remember, I talked about the GPS. The first time we use it, we're going to follow along. We're going to plug it in. We're going to program it, and away we go. That's what we're doing here. We're plugging it in. We're programming it to say, this is where I want to go. These are the directions that I need to get to be able to get there. If I run into any detours, guess what? I'm ready. I'm prepared. I have the strategy. I have the understanding of what I want to be able to deliver and how. So it's really, really important to have these steps in order and look at how long it's going to take you. Some cases it might be like 500 days. Some cases it might be 90 days, but at least you've committed to that. So as you get into 2022, you can be ready. You can have this map ready for January 1st. It's like a railroad track. You get on it, it's ready to go, boom, off you go. You have all these pieces in place to be able to help you with that journey as well. So spend some time, go through this, take a look at the resources, what they do and how they can do that. And then finally, the last part, just sort of a fun little aside, and we don't really have time to get into this, but taking this whole concept of roadmap and these different pieces and that sort of thing, the triangles and the delta and the change and that sort of thing, have been really important. And what I've been trying to do is create this story behind it. But what you can fundamentally do is create like what I call translate that roadmap into what I call a stratahedron, but basically taking all of the different elements that we've talked about and putting it into a little fancy little model that you can pick up, you can use, you can put it on your dash as you're heading to your destination. You can bring it to your meetings, you can bring it to your client conversations to say, this is the roadmap that I'm going to be taking you on, right? These are the pieces, these are the 9 steps along the way. These are the fixes, the 3 fixes, and this is how the model works. You can actually show them and present this to them. And we're able to do that because we put these together as a triangular type model to be able to see that. And that's what this illustration is here. So we take these 3 pieces, we understand there's 4 sides to this solution, right? Your ultimate CTA and promise, that's the business GPS. Upside down. There we go. And then each of these as well. So persuasive positioning has the 3 positions as well. Tenacious targeting has the 3 road stops. Connected and craving clients has the 3 road stops as well. So what I've done is been able to create this model that allows you to be able to do that. Basically print it out on a PDF. And I've developed a tool that you can use to actually use the text. So you fill it in on your own. And this is part of sort of some of the different levels of projects that we do, which I'm going to get into shortly as well. So you print it out, you cut it out, and then you're able to fold it up. Through the magic of paper and folding, we can actually fold it into a little stratahedron. And this is an example of another one, a different business as well. But we're able to fundamentally see, okay, what are these pieces of the puzzle that we need to be able to understand? How can we make this, how can we make sense of this? How can we make a roadmap easier? And in most cases, yeah, we might pull out the paper roadmap, and guess what? It's actually quite helpful because we can see it. We can understand how these pieces interact, what's important between the two. How do I get each of these steps along the way? So I can focus on 1 week on this side, another week on that side, and then 3rd and 4th week on the other sides as well. So it gives you a great understanding of what can we actually do to be able to do that as well. So what does that look like? It's being able to create real, customized, tactile, tangible story, strategy, and roadmap from your business as well. So we've taken all these different elements, and hopefully it makes sense how we kind of put them together. And look, I used to be an engineer, so my brain is kind of geeking out on an aerospace engineer. So my brain is kind of geeking out on how can we actually put these pieces together to make it tangible, to make it touchable, something kinesthetic as well that allows us to be able to see it in a different way, in a different dimension that we can then use on a daily basis as well. So let's wrap. I think we're almost done for time. So if you'd like to stick around, please feel free to. I just wanted to finish wrapping up. I've got some other, I'll close that one off. There we go. Kind of putting it all together. So, just in kind of conclusion, there's an expression. I used to be a pilot in the Air Force as well, a commercial pilot. But one of the things that we talk about a lot is being off course, right? And as a pilot or a bus driver even, or driving a taxi, it doesn't really matter. We want to get to our target. We want it to be able to go to where it is that we say we're going to. So unfortunately, look, we can't always make it, but just sort of to show you how significant this can be, what's 1 degree off course, right? What does that actually mean? 1 degree, like that's very a small sliver of a 360-degree circle. What if we are only 1 degree off, right? What are we going to do? What does it actually mean? Well, there's a rule of thumb that says that for every 60 kilometers, miles, nautical miles, pick your units, doesn't really matter. But for every 60 miles forward that we travel forward, if we're 1 degree off, we'll be 1 kilometer off of our destination, our target, right? So, you know what, traveling outside of your town or city, it's not too big of a deal. Go for a drive in the country. If you're flying a plane, you look down, 60 kilometers gone, and okay, the airport, it's a little bit off. It's not right off of our nose, but it's 1 degree off, and that translates into it's a kilometer roughly, give or take. So all you have to do is kind of recorrect your course, and away you go. Going across the country, Canada, US, Australia, like that's a lot of distance. That's 3,000 kilometers or more, right? That's massive. So how far off we are of our target, right? About what, 50, 60 kilometers? So guess what? You wouldn't even be able to see your destination at that point. You'd have to make radical corrective action to be able to fly on that 1 degree. You're 60 kilometers off. You can't see your target. You can't see your destination anymore. So you have to make corrective action and aggressive corrective action. If you're flying from Sydney to Los Angeles or to New York or Vancouver to wherever to London, if you're 1 degree off, guess what? You can be in a totally different country. If you're going Sydney to LA, you might land out in Canada or you might land out in Mexico. And is that a good thing? No, right? It's not. So we need to be clear, very, very clear where we're headed and what we're going in, and make these small adjustments. It doesn't mean that you have to overcorrect at the end. It means you can make these small adjustments along the way, that you can then see them. If you have a roadmap, you can anticipate what's coming up. You can see that, oh, there's a detour, there's a construction, there's this, that road station's closed, that roadhouse is closed, so I can go to the next one, or I've got enough fuel to be able to do that. So you have all of that. There's no reason to be off course or off mark, off your target. You have those capabilities to be able to do that. You've got that roadmap to keep you focused, to keep you centered. And to me, that's the most fascinating aspect of this, is that gets you to your vision. Your vision is what you see and where you're going. Your strategy is how you're going to get there, that journey that you're going to take. And if you can manage those, if you can put those together with the roadmap, that's where you can make a huge difference, because you can see what's going to come. You can anticipate. You can understand why this changes, or how can you overcome that. You can be able to do that along the way as well. So I want to leave you with the digital challenge for business. As the world adapts and changes, businesses need to adapt, change, and transform with the times. And that requires digital, the knowledge of knowing what your customer is doing, how they are doing it, and what they want to do. So ask yourself, what are you missing out on? Challengers should see this as a time as tremendous opportunity for themselves as well. Ultimately, your vision is the destination, and I just said that, right? Strategy is the roadmap that takes you there. And I'd love to say that, your challenge starts now. The clock is ticking. I said that at the beginning. How do you overcome that? How do you understand what it needs to be, what needs to happen, how you can actually put that together to be able to do that as well? So do you have those pieces in place? Do you have that understanding? Do you have your growth pathway strategy, your GPS? Do you have your roadmap? And of course, would you love some help with that? If you're planning on getting ready for 2022, if you're planning for understanding what's important and how you're going to be able to do it, and how you're going to sequence it as well, what can you actually do? Well, I do have what I call the growth pathway strategy project. Okay. So 100 days to your digital business growth pathway strategy roadmap. Create your savvy strategy for online business domination. Build the 3-step roadmap protocol to position your business fully to engage online. Who's it for? Entrepreneurs and SMEs that want to make a bigger impact, get better results, and find better customers online as well. So there's a number of things that we do, help you build a roadmap, help you create that growth pathway strategy, connecting all these different elements, understanding what that process is, understanding how these pieces fit together. It'll allow you to stop wasting resources, time, and money with online, because, we know that we've all spent money where we didn't necessarily need to on tools and techniques and tactics, but let's get strategic. Let's get organized, create a structure, and stop the confusion and overwhelm, and fundamentally build a roadmap that gets you to your destination quicker and easier than is happening now. Stop struggling. Start with your savvy and simple strategy as well. So I'm opening up for applications coming up. So if you'd love to book a time, we'll take a little 15-minute quick break to be able to open up to see exactly what we can do to uncover your quick wins and new opportunities and help you build your roadmap. So I'd love it if you wanted to book a call. This comes after at any time. Pick a time on my calendar. But please take a look at, how do we actually create that journey forward? How can we understand what it is that we need to be able to do? So I'd love to spend, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour type thing to be able to understand specifically what your challenges are, and then how can we build a roadmap for you as well to get you to that place so that you know at the end of 2021, where is it that I'm going to go on? You're not going to be able to finish this year, but at least you can get started. So when 2022 starts, you will have the first elements all ready to go. Then you can just continue on from there. So the Roadmap Discovery Kit, you can grab that. I did post it in the channel, but please feel free to copy and paste if you can. I'll put that in the comments and the chat as well so that it is clickable. But bit.ly/roadmap challenge, you can download. I've been talking for a bit. You can download the roadmap challenge, the templates, the worksheets, the workbook, some of the presentations, some of the videos as well to be able to do that. Let's get you booked in. Let's take a look at, how can this actually work for you? Let's try to solve quickly, some quick wins, some new opportunities to see, okay, where can this roadmap take you, and how will it take you, and how will it help you accomplish those business goals? That's ultimately what I want to do, is be able to help you create your growth pathway strategy, your business GPS that allows you to be able to connect these dots, to create this roadmap so that you have the pieces in place to be able to move forward quickly and clearly as well. All right, and that's it. So if you're still watching, love to thank you for spending the time with me. If you would like to stick around, I'm more than happy to answer questions. I'm going to turn off the share and that sort of thing. Or if you want to come and ask some questions on stage, please feel free to do that as well. And let's get started. Anybody would like to ask some questions? Thank you, Bonnie, as well for the, thank you, Doyle. This was a thorough presentation. Really appreciate that. So if you'd like to jump on stage, feel free. I'll stick around for a few minutes. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks for joining in. If you have any questions, feel free to